Welcome to another video, and in this one we're going to be looking at the various templates which appear in Tasha's Cauldron of everything. I've had a few queries and comments about these, so I thought I'd make this video to show you how to use the templates and how the whole system works. So we've got Bob the wizard here. And if we have a look at his actions tab, he's got a couple of spells out of Tasha's, Summon Aberration and Summon Celestial. And if we open up the Summon Aberration spell, we can see that it's a 4th level conjuration, and he can cast the spell to summon a particular kind of apparition, 3 different kinds, a beholder, kin, a slad, or a star spawn. And depending on which one he chooses, that determines the creature's stat block, etc. And if we look down at the bottom of the spell, we can see it has a link to 3 different templates, one for each of the types that he can cast. And if we open these up, we can see that we get to an NPC template. And we can scroll down this and we can see that there are various aspects of this which require some kind of adjustment. I mean, the armor class here, for example, shows 11 plus the level of the spell. So it wasn't possible because of just the sheer number of different or the potential number of different figures that could go into these to have an NPC for every available configuration. So what I did was create this template, and the Dungeon Master will need to adjust this template in order for the player character to be able to actually use this NPC, or for the DM to use it, whichever way you want to do it. So if you notice down here, it says Fantasy Grounds see notes section for adjustments needed to this template. And if we click on the notes section, we can see that there's a list here of things that we need to do to make this template usable as an NPC. If you're looking at this from the NPCs list, then you'll also see that there is a link to the spell, which just simply relates back to the spell to show you how this NPC comes into existence. So you'll notice that this template is locked. We've got a little red lock icon, so we can't actually edit this template. So we need to, first of all, make a copy of it in order to do that. So we go to our NPCs tab. The first thing here we see is our Aberrant Spirit Beholder template, and if we click on that, we get back to the same thing as we just shut down there. So in order to be able to edit this, we're going to have to make a copy. So we just make a copy by clicking and dragging the template that we want and dropping it back down into the NPC list. And then when we open this now, we can see we've got the black icon, which means that we are able to unlock this and edit it. So if we open up the original again and go to the notes tab, and we can keep this up, and it'll be a handy reference as to what it is that we need to do. So the first thing it tells us here is the armor class is to add the spell's level, and we can see that in the notes for the armor class here it does say that as well. So the spell level in this case is level 4. If Bob were to be casting this at a higher level, then this would change as well, but he's casting it, let's say, at level 4, so we're going to have to change this 11 to 15 to get the correct armor class. The next thing it says, hit points add 10 for each spell level above 4th. So the hit points at the moment are put in there as 40, which would be correct if Bob's casting this at 4th level. But if he was casting this at a higher level, let's say at 5th level, then we would need to go in and edit this and change the 40 to a 50. The next thing we've got to look at is the actions, and so if we scroll down to the actions here, and it says replace the text with the actual number of attacks in the multi-attack section. So it tells us here that the aberration makes the number of attacks equal to half this spell's level rounded down. So the spell level is level 4, so if we're casting this as 4th level spell, then the number of attacks are going to be 2. So we can take all of this text out and just change it to 2 attacks. Fantasy Grounds doesn't do anything with that, but obviously it makes it clearer how many attacks the creature is going to have if we edit the text. And then we look further down and it says change your spell attack modifier to the actual attack modifier of the caster. And this is down in this section here, range spell attack, and it says your spell attack modifier to hit. So we need to take out the words your spell attack modifier. So let's delete that. And we need to replace this with the actual spell attack modifier. So Bob is a level 10 wizard, I believe. So that should be a proficiency of 4, and his intelligence modifier is also 4. So that's an 8 altogether. So we would put in here plus 8 to hit. And then when we mouse over this, we see that it lights up telling us that we've got the correct syntax, so that he'll be able to then just double click on this and we will be able to make the correct attack roll. Looking back at the template notes, then it says to add the spell level to the damage. So at the moment we've got 1d8 plus 3 plus the spell's level psychic damage. So we need to take out the plus the spell's level. So let's do that. We can delete this all the way right back to here. And the spell's level is level 4, so we need to change the plus 3 to a plus 7. So we take out the 3, change that to a 7. We leave the psychic damage because we need that. And again, when we mouse over this, we find that the correct it's highlighting, so therefore we can double click this to make the correct damage roll. So there's nothing more here, so we have finished editing the NPC, and we now have an NPC that can be used in the game. You might obviously want to change the title here just by deleting the template. You can give it a new token by dragging and dropping a new token onto the token area here, but essentially that's it done. We can lock it back up and we're ready to use it. Now, in order to have the player use this template, we need to open up our combat tracker and we need to add the NPC to the combat tracker. We'll make it visible and we will change the hostile designation here by just clicking on the red icon until it shows green and it's then friendly. And then we will grab the well, actually, we'll put it onto a map first. I think we've got a map here which we've shared already. We can get this on here. We can drag our token onto the map. And then we can take this link here and drag that and drop it onto Bob's portrait, and it'll pop up the NPC thing. And if we have a look at the player's screen now, we can see that Bob now has this NPC available to him on the combat tracker and on the map. Now it's locked for Bob, so he can't do any adjustment, which is why the DM has to do all these adjustments, because the players can't create stuff, so it's locked for the player. Now we notice here that Bob actually can't do anything with this token as far as moving it is concerned. So what we have to do if you want the players to be able to move the token is to go into options here and scroll down until we see the party vision and movement option, which defaults to off. If we set that to on and then go back to the player screen, we can see that Bob can now interact with the token and move it around. Now that does mean that if you do switch this on, then Bob can click on any token and other players can click on any token as well. And so you may not want that, and if you don't, then don't change that option, but the DM will have to move the token for the player. If you want the player to be able to move the token, then switch that option on. And then, of course, the NPC sheet here, if Bob or the player inadvertently closes this, we can get it back by just simply double clicking on the token on the combat tracker or on the map. And then Bob can actually make all these attacks now. He can target enemies and he can do all the spell attacks, etc., and the damage for that NPC using the NPC sheet in the same way as the Dungeon Master can use the NPC sheet in the same way. So if we quickly go back to the DM screen, you'll see that there's a lot of these templates in Tasha's. If we get our NPCs back again, there's a whole pile of these, and they're all essentially the same thing. Whichever one you want. Some of these are related to spells. Some of them are related to abilities that certain classes have. I mean, for example, the Eldritch Cannon template, I think, has got something to do with warlocks or the artificer. And again, it's the same kind of thing here. We just need to go to the Notes tab, read through the things that are listed here, and just change the things to the actual figures so that the template will actually work. And the important one is things like the Force Ballista here, range spell attack plus X to hit, so you just need to change the plus X to the right figure. And then here we've got what else? Yes, the protector here gains 1d8 plus your intelligence modifier. So you need to change the your intelligence modifier to the actual figure there. And then that will make the NPC work properly. So I think that's it. I can't think of anything more that we need to cover. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers for now.